It was a warm summer day when a young explorer set out on his sailboat to search for the lost treasures of Captain Morgan. He had been planning this voyage for months, and he was determined to find the treasure and make his fortune. The young explorer's name was Jack, and he was just 24 years old. He was a fearless adventurer, and he had been sailing on the open seas since he was a teenager. He had a small sailboat that he had inherited from his father, and he had spent many hours sailing it along the coast, exploring the caves and inlets that dotted the shoreline. But this voyage was different. Jack was not just sailing for the fun of it. He was sailing in search of the lost treasure of Captain Morgan. This treasure was said to be worth a fortune, and many people had tried to find it over the years, but no one had ever succeeded. Jack was determined to be the one who would finally find the treasure and make his fortune. As Jack sailed out into the open sea, he felt a thrill of excitement coursing through his veins, as he knew this was going to be an adventure unlike any other he had experienced before, and he was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. He hoisted the sail and set a course for the location where the treasure was said to be hidden. As he sailed, Jack thought about the legend of Captain Morgan and his lost treasure. It was said that Captain Morgan was a pirate who plundered the Caribbean seas in the late 1700s. He had amassed a vast fortune in gold and jewels, but he had never revealed the location of his treasure before he was killed in a fierce battle with the British Navy. Since then, many people had tried to find the treasure, but no one had ever succeeded. Some people said that his treasure was hidden on a remote island, while others claimed that it was buried in a secret cave on the ocean floor. But no one knew for sure where the treasure was, and that was why Jack was determined to find it. As Jack sailed on, he encountered many obstacles along the way. He had to navigate through treacherous storms and dodge the sharp rocks that lurked beneath the surface of the water. He also had to avoid the other sailors who were also searching for the treasure, some of whom were ruthless pirates and who would stop at nothing to get the treasure for themselves. But Jack was not deterred. He was a skilled sailor, and he was able to overcome all of these obstacles with determination. He had also a secret weapon in his quest for the treasure, a map that he had acquired from an old sailor who claimed to know the location of the treasure. The map was not a complete one, and it was riddled with cryptic clues and riddles that only a true treasure hunter could decipher. But Jack was determined to solve the clues and follow the map to the treasure, no matter what it took. As he sailed on, Jack spent many long hours studying the map and trying to decipher its secrets. He consulted with other sailors and historians who might have some knowledge of the treasure, and he read books and documents that might contain clues to its location. Finally, after many weeks of sailing and searching, Jack came across an island that matched the description on the map. He sailed his boat into a small cove and anchored it near the shore. He then set out on foot to explore the island, following the clues on the map as he went. As he walked through the dense jungle that covered the island, Jack felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. He was convinced that he was getting closer to the treasure, and he could almost feel it calling to him. Jack continued to explore the island, following the clues on the map as best as he could. He climbed steep hills and waded through muddy swamps, all the while searching for any signs of the treasure. Finally, after many hours of searching, Jack stumbled upon a hidden cave at the base of a rocky cliff. He could feel his heart pounding with excitement as he entered the cave, and he could barely contain his anticipation as he shone his flashlight around the dark interior. As he made his way deeper into the cave, Jack could see that the walls were covered with ancient symbols and carvings. He could also see that there were several tunnels branching off from the main chamber, and he knew that he would have to explore each one in order to find the treasure. Jack spent the next few hours exploring the tunnels, following the clues on the map as he went. He crawled through narrow passages and climbed over rocky obstacles, all the while searching for any signs of the treasure. At last, he came to a small chamber at the end of one of the tunnels, and there, in the dim light, he could see a chest sitting in the corner. It was old and rusted, and it looked as if it had been there for many years. Jack's heart was pounding with excitement as he approached the chest. He could barely believe that he had finally found the treasure of Captain Morgan. He reached out and opened the chest, and what he saw inside took his breath away. The chest was filled with gold coins and sparkling jewels. There were diamonds and rubies and emeralds, all shining brightly in the dim light. Jack could barely contain his excitement as he reached out and touched the treasure, knowing that it was all his for the taking. With the treasure in hand, Jack made his way back to his sailboat and set sail for home. He knew that he had made a great discovery, and he was eager to return home and share the news of his success with the world. As Jack sailed on, he couldn't help but smile. He had accomplished what many had thought was impossible, and he had found the lost treasure of Captain Morgan all by himself. And now, with his newfound wealth, he was ready to take on any adventure that came his way. After returning home with his treasure, Jack quickly became famous as the man who had found the lost treasure of Captain Morgan. People from all over the world came to see him and hear the story of his adventures, and many people were eager to learn the secrets of his success. But despite all of the attention, Jack was not satisfied. He had always been a restless soul, and he knew that he could not stay in one place for too long. So he decided to use his newfound wealth to travel the world and see all of the amazing sights and wonders that it had to offer. As he traveled, Jack met many interesting people and experienced many exciting adventures. He visited exotic lands and climbed towering mountains, and he explored ancient ruins and hidden caves. He also encountered many dangers along the way, but he always managed to overcome them with his quick wit and bravery. After many months of traveling, Jack arrived in a small town in the countryside. He had heard the town was a peaceful and idyllic place, and he was eager to see it for himself. As he walked through the town, he came across a young woman named Molly. She was beautiful and a kind-hearted girl, and she immediately caught Jack's eye. Jack and Molly quickly became friends, and they spent many hours talking and getting to know each other. Jack was charmed by Molly's gentle nature, and he found himself falling in love with her. After a few weeks of courtship, Jack and Molly decided to get married. They used the money from the treasure to buy a farm on the outskirts of town, and they settled down to start a family. As the years passed, Jack and Molly had 3 children, and they lived a happy and fulfilling life on their farm. They worked hard and enjoyed the simple pleasures of rural life, and they were grateful for all that they had. Jack never forgot about his adventure and the treasure that he had found, but he knew that it was not the most important thing in his life. What mattered most to him was the love and happiness that he had found with Molly and their children, and he knew that he was truly blessed. And so Jack and Molly lived happily ever after, enjoying a life of peace and contentment on their farm in the countryside. They had found their treasure not in gold and jewels, but in love and happiness of their family.